This is day 1385 and 1385 days since Richard was murdered, and we don't have his body. So let's make sure that I'm on. Okay, looks like everything's working. Okay, and I can do a little repeat. We have breaking news tonight. Um, so this is day 1385 days since Richard was murdered, and we still don't have his body. We have prime suspects, the prime suspects being Dallas Hart, Tavita Nusa, who was a CID agent right there at Fort Bliss, who lost his badge. And they departed. They were removed. It's like Clem Coward, the general, Patrick Matlock. It's just like, and the Judge Robert Shook, just leaves. Now we have the Department of State General Counsel just leaving. We had the FBI director, Downey, Director Downey, just leave. Um, you know, Something strange is going on. And of course, uh, Richard's this whole story is not being covered like it should be in the news. We have one story that came out there in the local paper in El Paso, and this seems to be all very, very controlled, right? But it was just full of it. Well, it was just a false story. It was just a false story, and they're very clever at using manipulation. And that's one of the Ten Commandments. It's a lesson that a little Bible study that I went to years ago about thou shalt not bear false witness, and what that meant. Because it's, you can say the example that was given was that a man comes into a bar and he's sitting there and he goes, hey, buddy, can you pay for my drinks tonight? Because I've got no money. My wife, she just took all the money out of the bank account, didn't give me any money tonight. And, I'm broke. And she packed up and moved out. And I need a drink, right? And the buddy's like, wow, you've got really a mean wife, right? But the thing is the man that came in didn't tell him the rest of the story. That, he had a gambling problem and had gambled away their house, and it was being foreclosed on, and that she had to take all the money out of the bank to pay whatever she could in his debt, and had to move in with her mother, right? So he doesn't tell the whole story, and that's a false witness. And this is what the media has become. They've become just pros at being false witnesses, which is a violation of God's law. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And you have to tell the story right. You have to tell the truth right. And they, of course, the CID manipulates everything. They sanitize, they leave out, whatever. And, because they have to be very careful about legal, they want to play with the whole legal thing and say, oh, well, we did this or we did that, but they just bear false witness on every turn. And or they absolutely lie. And some of the parts of the story is absolutely defamation. Um, and so the real Fit Fam El Paso carried that story. and we contacted them to let them know that, that was a false story, right? A false witness. And, there was no response from them. We also contacted them to let them know that we were willing to pay for a spot where we could tell our side of the story, since nobody from that story contacted us, and they acted like they're the ones that broke it, that they're the ones that got the information. And we're the ones that got the knock on the door, right? The doorbell ring from the soldiers. We're the ones that received the casualty file. And, you would think that they would want to get our side of the story first for a proper story. So there's a real problem with the media, and in our son's case, there's a real problem with the media there in El Paso, and it seems like that has, uh, you know, is also the real Fit Fam El Paso has a problem too. And a lot of people are saying that there's a problem. So, we, Team Farm Richard Halliday, we, are asking for your help, and wanted everyone to contact them. I mean, it's a social media site, right? It's Instagram. Contact them. So you can contact them through their ownership. And so what we found out is that the registered owner for the Real Fit Fam El Paso, as we understand it, is Jules. I hope I pronounced this right. Tuganon Chan. Jules Tuganon Chan. And we posted it up just before we came on. And also David Candelera, which is very interesting that he seems to have this huge stake in the Real Fit Fam El Paso. But that's what it seems like. David Candelera, looks like, maybe he helped with the founding of it, right? But he has a real hand in the Real Fit Fam El Paso, seems, with KTSM, right? KTSM. And KTSM, that's very interesting to us, because KTSM, when I think of KTSM, I think of Danae Katzen. Danae Katzen-Abreeze, right? That's her name now, since she got married. But, just because she got married, she didn't turn over a new leaf. She is a convicted criminal. She is connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. They seem to be in the business of scamming people. And what's the problem with our with the police department? Why aren't they arrested? All this notification. How much notification does the El Paso police need to have before they look into all the hurt, the economic hurt to El Paso, the family hurt? These people have bills to pay, and businesses to run. And Danae Katzen, with her husband Jonathan Abreeze, was just on the Real Fit Fam El Paso, which is wow, because KTSM rolled the red carpet out for her when we met her there. They really did whatever. They were just, and it was a little strange for us that they would spend so much time And for what? For just this little segment, teeny segment. It, I, it was just such a scam. And of course, we know that Danae was part of the scam. And of course, we know that KTSM was part of the scam because of the way they rolled the red carpet out for her. And I mean, hours, for that day. It's just so obvious. There's not a doubt in my mind. I was there. I have witnesses. I wasn't there alone with Danae. So that was in 2020, right? And so, that would have to be approved by David Candelaria because he's KTSM, right? And now with this FitFam thing, it's very interesting how people are throwing other people under the bus that are connected because they are absolutely connected than just, oh, let me do a story on you. And Danae Katzen is absolutely connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, which is the Walmart mass shooting case. Okay, so there it goes again. This this connection of two cases that are really one. You know, you can separate them out, but it's like Patrick Crucius is sitting in isolation for 5 years, not one thing being scheduled in the Walmart mass shooting case, sucking millions of dollars up from the taxpayers for for the DA's office not to do anything, and then the DA's office is too busy letting criminals go free. That's what just happened with this judge, right? In El Paso. And of course, what's going on with Danae? How many people does she have to hurt? How many businesses does she have to hurt? How much chaos does she have to sow before something is done? You know, she's just trouble. She's just up to no good. And it's not, this is years going on. And so, we have put out a request for people to contact David Candelara and this Jules Tuganan Chan. There's others, but for now, that's good to just put those two names out. And if you have a few minutes to write them, contact FitFam and say, hey, Jules, what are you doing? Hey, David, what are you doing? Why are you running this story about a soldier, a Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier who was murdered? And the family wants his body. The family wants his body. And they were right all along. The family was right all along. And what's this going on with Danae? I mean, I understand that you're putting this story up with her. And the interesting thing with the story is it mentions Find Richard Halliday. So we can look at that. Yeah, it mentions Find Richard Halliday. Let me see. Well, I do remember seeing her, meaning Danae, in another video. They were looking for her about the Richard Halliday for tampering and interfering with the investigation. Absolutely she did. And that, when you talk about Danae Katzen, you're talking about Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And then listen to this, what is being said. She brings her mother along. Is that Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, or is that Tanya Katzen, right? Is that Tanya? Is Tanya like a Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia? Because let me tell you, they're rough. They're rough, and not in a good way. Not not in a powerful way. They're just bullies. And here it's being said, she brings her mother along with several men to bully the neighbors. So even the neighbors are being bullied and to extort them for money using false claims, bogus contracts, and she cuts it. They're trying to pay their bills and they're going around bullying people and extorting them. Um, this is huge allegations, and I can tell you from what happened to us, that and all the other people that we've talked to about the horses and uh, anyway, let's read it. Bogus contracts that she cuts and pastes off Google, and she thinks she can outsmart others by using her patsy husband to do her dirty work. I mean, wow. uh, they're really sowing a lot of trouble in El Paso. And why isn't something being done, right? Um, it looks like, oh yeah, and here it says, why are they getting away with it? They won't do anything because her family is in the PD, in the police department. Really? Wow. Yeah, take a look at these comments. This chick was real. The money in the account was not. Oh, the check was real. The money in the account was not. Please follow our backup. Yeah, so absolutely. And, you know, this just shows you that what we're saying about the false narrative, because it seems like David Candelera, even with this and this Jules tugging on Chan, you know, I'm trying to understand there seems to be a fallout, right? There seems to be a fallout because they were absolutely using Danae um, to con job us about Richard, to tamper and interfere in the investigation with us, to mislead us. And, you know, who does that? To mislead a family that's looking for their son. Who does that kind of stuff? I mean, these people are just really wicked. Here it is. This Danny, she goes by Danny Katzen, chick stole so much from me and took forever to pay me back. The Horizon PD didn't want to do nothing, and I'm sure with the new chief they have now, they would so. And I'm not bashing the new, but the old. I had all proof and pictures too. Still do. This chick stole horses from my friends, saddles, tack, feed. She pretended to be a dog trainer and abandoned dogs at Fort Bliss even. I'm glad El Paso Police Department jumped on it because back then Horizon under the old chief and chain of command never did. They have a case opened with, and so too. I mean, she tried to scam. What is this one? Sorry, it's my machine. Um, the mariachi group, right? She tried to scam the mariachi group. She doesn't even have decency for a mariachi group. They have to work hard for their money. What? She decided that she's privileged, that she can scam everyone that's doing things for her wedding or something like that, and then she doesn't feel like she has to pay them. I mean, uh, I tell you, they we've been right. We're right. Something awful. Richard was murdered, y'all. Richard was murdered. There's so much proof because what in the heck is Danny covering up that she has to prey on a family that's looking for their missing son? You know, I couldn't offer her anything. And she's scamming. And she didn't try to scam us except for with lies about her son. So she targeted Richard. It wasn't enough that they murdered him, and what was the motive? Well, because he was a whistleblower. Maybe he was interfering in her scam jobs. Maybe, and why did David Candelara get into this with KTSM? Because KTSM really was covering our story and coming to the house and, uh, you know, uh, seeing our charts and everything. They were very interested. And to us, that's very suspicious now because what were they wanting to find out? What we knew? Well, I can tell you right now, David Candelara has gone. KTSM is on my suspicious list. Absolutely, especially when he's messing with the likes of Danny Katzen and now he's selling her out because maybe she's so toxic by now. She has hurt so many businesses and so many individuals and even animals. Even animals. She doesn't even have a respect for mariachi bands, animal dogs, horses, people. What kind of people do that? It seems to me that if Richard was whistleblowing on trafficking, it would be people that are totally cold blooded to other people and to animals and to their community that would want to participate in organized criminal activities like trafficking. You just have to be cold blooded. So yeah, it's it's very clear. So please, if you have a little time, to go on to Instagram and reach out to Jules Tuganon Chan, and I hope I'm saying that right, Chan, and his name is JULESTUGONON, Chan, CHAN, and then of course David Candelara because he's totally has a direct uh, involvement connection with the real Fit Fam El Paso. So that would be a great help. And we're just every day is breaking news, and with this Danae being back in the news cycle on the very platform that we've been trying to reach out to get the story out. Um, but it seems like they're selling her out. I think with the notice of death, I think the people that murdered Richard and participated or were associated with it and participated in the cover up in El Paso area, I think they're in trouble now. I think that, and this is just an indication of that. And, maybe they're kind of like trying to save their own skin in there. And that's why David Candelara did this. Because I think he has a say so on what goes on the real Fit Fam El Paso. I really do. Just like what is on KTSM. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone out there let me know. And David Candelara, if he's watching this, he can let me know. But absolutely, he should explain um, his actions since the beginning of all of this with our son. And because I have a lot of questions, and the information that was coming out of the office of KTSM in the last few years has been terrible. what's going on in that office. Um, so yeah, it just shows you that Richard was right all along. And I also want to remind everybody, people, especially people that have not um, just joined in for Richard's case, is always remember that we believe that Richard's case happened before the Walmart mass shooting. That Richard was whistleblowing before the Walmart mass shooting because Danae Katzen is connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, which connects Richard's case to the Walmart case. And why do we say that? Because we have evidence, and the evidence we've turned in. We've turned it in to CID and FBI, and also on this live stream. Uh, you know, we we just put it all out there, and because of connecting all the dots, because of knowing that there were audits going on for weapons, because of there were IG all over the barracks because of Halliday, and wanting to redirect those investigations. And of course, with the DA's office being a political opportunist that they are now, proving that politics played a huge role there in El Paso during this whole thing. And with Beto O'Rourke going and meeting with the likes of Ernest Christopher Grant, who is, he's somebody, he has some high powered protection. That's all I have to say. He has some high powered protection. And remember, he was arrested at the White House um, by Secret Service. So something is not right with that guy and his connections. Um, it's very interesting. So Beto O'Rourke went to the hospital to meet with him. I mean, we're on the streets of El Paso 4 to 6 times a week doing rallies for months. Beto O'Rourke never came out to see us, to support us. I mean, even Veronica Escobar came out, right? She came out to one of our rallies, but I never saw Beto. And yeah, never. Mm-mm. But he went to the hospital with Ernest Christopher Grant, who absolutely lied, and has some kind of other connection with the Walmart mass shooting. Okay? Because that shooting was orchestrated. That was a political, that was, uh, I, it is, can you imagine those victims going into the hands of an illegal chief medical examiner who is just up to no good? And Veronica Escobar knows this too. It's her mess. She was the county judge. So, this whole thing with Danae opens up that big can of worms again with the Walmart mass shooting. And really connects David Candelera and KTSM with that. How could it not? And now it's connecting the Real Fit Fam El Paso to this whole mess. Because, Richard's story, that's a big story. And for us to contact people to, 15 times with El Paso Matters, and then, numerous times to El Paso Community Foundation, who owns El Paso Matters, right? That has the same address. Um, it's and not for, and to be ignored, not to get a statement. I mean, I talked to Task and Purpose several times. So for them not to get back is very telling. Very telling. Something is very wrong um, in the justice system. We know that Bill Hicks needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested. He's a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. That's a fact. And that's a mess of Greg Abbott. Governor Abbott needs to clear that one up. He needs to have him arrested. And this is not us reporting it only. This is, because we did that amicus brief, but because we're a friend of the court, we're a friend of law enforcement, we're a friend of our system. It's the criminals like Danae Katzen that are unfriendly to the system. It's like Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. They're the violators. They violate our rights. They violate our system. They violate our businesses. They violate their friends. They violate dogs. They violate horses. And it goes on and on. And now David Candelera is, well, and also Danae's husband, right? Jonathan Embrese. So this is all coming out. It's just breaking everywhere. Breaking everywhere. Every day is breaking news. And so the person that, and we were fighting for Danae, worried about her, and I was telling Marlon Soto, why aren't you checking up on her? Why aren't you calling her? Why aren't you bringing in her and getting her information? She's scared at home. But that wasn't the case. They all knew this was a setup job. One whole month went by after that KTSM thing, right? Or the first phone call that she gave me and saying she was being stalked. She said she was being stalked by another soldier. It was just all a lie, violating our good nature. That's what she does. She violates goodness and friendliness and caring, all of those virtues that make a country a beautiful country, a city a beautiful city. Can you imagine if we just have the likes of Danae and all of the vices, the vulgar vices, the stealing, the theft, the uncaring, the trafficking. Yeah, that something is really wrong in El Paso to let those that are up to no good, that hurt so many people, that hurt the economy there, that hurt the businesses there, to let her just feel like she can be a violator with impunity. And, then I just think, oh my gosh, David Candelera must know Dallas Hart and Leilani Hart. Because if they are interfering in Richard's case, and we know that the prime suspects are Tavita Nusa and Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart, then they must be associates. How rotten is that? How rotten is that? I pray you get answers. We are ETSing because of all the toxic stuff they did to my spouse. I'm sorry, Alicia, and I believe it, and I'm glad that you're ETSing, and I'm glad you're getting out of there with your life because Richard didn't, and Glendon Oakley Jr. didn't, and Asia Graham didn't, and we've got to stop because they're hurting so many people. I mean, just read these comments. They're hurting so many people. And then they cover up. And look, you know, okay, you get murdered, you get suicided, um, you get poisoned by, you think you're taking a pain pill, and all of a sudden it's laced with fentanyl. I mean, think about what all has happened to all these different soldiers from Fort Hood, now Fort Cavazos, but Fort Hood and Fort Bliss under that same command. You know, um, you go out to the field, they have a drinking grog thing going on. I mean, it's so toxic. And then they almost lose their lives because in the sealet that they're drinking from is antifreeze. You don't recover from antifreeze too quick. No. So we've witnessed all of that. And here Richard was murdered clearly. Clearly. And you might think, oh, how can you say that? Well, because of 4 years, we have, uh, we've uh, cleaned that window a little bit more than other people because we've been doing this in and out every day, and putting together all the pieces. And it is convoluted, and that's how they get away with murder. Is they make things so convoluted because they have their people in certain places, and then the atmosphere is so toxic, and people get so afraid. They get so afraid to stand up to the evil, to stand up to these people that are just a fog. When you turn on their light, it burns off the fog, right? When you turn on the sunlight, it burns off the fog. These evil people are just fogs. They're just bullies. And, the fear and everything gives them the power to kill people, to bully people. And, if we stand together and be sunshine, and transparent and shine our light on all this. And of course, it all has a risk. Every day has a risk in our life, right? Every day. I mean, anything can happen. And, so I know Team Find Richard Halliday, we've just decided to stand up to these bullies. And these bullies can be oh, that's a big green machine. You're going up against the army, or you're going up against the intelligence. They have 6 ways to Sunday, whatever, to get back at you, and you're like, yeah, okay. But what's going to happen if they continue to act in this criminal way with impunity and no one ever stands up to them? More and more people get hurt more and more frequently. And it ruins our country. And, so for the memory of Richard, for the honor of Richard, for the honor of our family, for our name, can you imagine if we just looked the other way? After knowing everything what we know, what they did to our son? Because he had a brutal murder, y'all. It was brutal. and then they dishonored his body, his corpse, which is also a violation. And now Danae is continuing to hurt people and animals and businesses. And there's been a call for justice. And where is our million, billion, $1 trillion security to keep Americans safe, right? Where is it? Where are they? The ones that we arm, the ones that we give them all the tools to identify crime, document crime, and prosecute crime. Where are they? Well, we got the illegal DA. He's a usurper. He can't do anything. He can't bring forth any kind of case. He's the mass shooting that's supposed to be so clean cut. Oh, in just a few hours, we have determined that this is a lone shooter. Really? And then he sits there for 5 years and they do nothing to bring that case in? No justice is done? The victims' families are just in limbo? What's really going on? And then if I say our son's case is also in the hands of two illegals, the medical examiner, $438,000. Yes, you heard me right. $438K. That's a lot of Benjamins per year that he makes. He doesn't have to worry about inflation so much. And he's illegal. And he handles the remains of our soldiers, our loved ones there, the victims of the Walmart mass shooting. Who's he working for? What is he doing with these corpses? And he can't even, he wants to charge to be a witness, because it's a judicial office, so he can be a witness for the cause and manner of death, right? He wants to charge for that, and he can't even legally do it because he himself is illegal. So he botches every criminal case, every capital murder case he touches. It's a botched case, and if the perpetrators knew this, they could just walk off scot-free. Because it's a botched case. And then we have to double it up with an illegal usurper, trespasser of the 34th District Attorney's Office. Who botches every case too. And then we wonder why Danae can act with impunity because she knows all of this. She has family in the PD. And of course, the PD works closely with the DA's office. So, of course, she knows that the DA's office is broke and she can act with impunity. She doesn't have to worry. Something's very wrong. And so, what message? I'm just wondering what in the world is going on because what came out of her being showcased as the criminal that she is on The Real Fit Fam El Paso, that is, under the control, apparently, by David Candelera and this Jules Tuganon Chan. Yeah, that's, I'm just wondering what is going on. Whose toes did she finally step on? Because it's not really the justice system. It seems like this criminal network has been fed up with her now. Has, I don't know. Um, we will see. We will see. And that's another thing is sometimes because of TV or shows or whatever, we think these criminals are, you know, friendly with each other. I know, no, I think it's far from that. When you are full of vices, selfishness, and the sex cult, just being in a sex cult, you are causing so many problems, so many broken hearts, so many ill feelings because there's no loyalty at all. There's no honor amongst thieves and there's no loyalty with these sex cults. No loyalty at all. And no caring, no love. No love at all. And yeah. So I think it can get in those circles, I think it can get pretty ugly. Well, it is ugly, isn't it? It is very ugly. They're not all holding hands singing Kumbaya, right? They're acting very ugly together. So, and to one another, and to one another. I mean, yeah. So that's the breaking news today, and we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. More breaking news, and we're, uh, getting ourselves organized for legal action. That's what we broke yesterday. Just getting organized. We've been doing that for years now, and so it's coming together, and it takes a long time because our courts are messed up, and so you really have to think about how you can go about um, getting accountability. And for Richard, because it was such a brutal murder, we have to get accountability, and we want his body. So yeah, thank you so much for being Team Find Richard Halliday, for sharing information with us. We could not do this without you. The intelligence coming out of El Paso is incredible, is so incredible. And we are very, very grateful for that. Of course, you can call me a native from that area because I was born at White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, Donna Ana County. One of the very few babies born at the range. And normally you're born at William Beaumont Army Medical Center. But nope, I was born there at the clinic, right there at White Sands Missile Range. It's right there on my birth certificate. And yeah, my dad always said, your white hair came from the white sands of New Mexico. So, and I miss my dad. Great dad. Thank you so much. And he said something to me over and over and over again when we were helping. He was helping us look for Richard. Um, and he said, something is wrong because there's no esprit de corps. There's no esprit de corps. And I understand what he was saying now. I understand the weight of it. And so I think Team Find Richard Halliday is making a, well, I don't know if we can make up for it, but I think we have esprit de corps. And so God bless you. Thank you so much. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.